Okay, so welcome to the deep dive. And today, we're going to be looking into a new show that might be coming out on Netflix.
Okay.
Well, maybe, sort of.
Yeah.
You know how these things go, right? So what we have is a Quora thread, and this Quora thread seems to think there's going to be this new hit show called Apple Cider Vinegar that's going to be on Netflix.
Interesting.
But, and here's the thing, there's a little bit more to this story, right?
Okay.
It's a little more complicated than that.
So I feel like just the fact that people are already talking about a show called Apple Cider Vinegar tells you something about where we're at with streaming, right?
Yeah.
Like it's so easy to get Netflix and Hulu and Apple TV Plus all mixed up because there's just so many of them.
All the time.
Yeah.
I've done that so many times where I'm like, okay, I want to watch this show, and I open like the wrong app, and I'm like, wait, what? What is going on? So, okay, so there's already a little bit of confusion going on.
Right,
There's
yeah.
just so many shows and so many platforms, and then you have this Quora thread where they're talking about apple cider vinegar.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. They're actually talking about a show called Shrinking on Apple TV Plus AIM,
Okay.
which, I mean, come on, they both have apples in them, right? So I think
Yeah.
that's where the confusion comes in.
Maybe that's it, yeah. You know, one thing that I think is really interesting about this whole thing is the title, Apple cider vinegar. It's kind of out there, it's kind of quirky, and maybe that's what makes it stand out, or maybe that's what leads to people mixing it up with something else.
Exactly.
But it just goes to show that having a really memorable title can make a big difference.
Right. Especially in this, streaming landscape where everything is competing for your attention. How does anything break through all the noise?
Yeah, for sure.
And actually, that's a good point because this Quora thread is full of comments like, I'm already hooked, and this show is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Right. But do you think early hype, actually means anything, right?
Yeah.
Like we've all been burned before?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think buzz is definitely a good starting point. It gets people to, tune in for the pilot,
Yeah.
but it's not the whole story. Like, what makes people come back for more?
Right.
That's where things like really good writing come into play. And especially Shrinking, it seems like this show's going to deal with a lot of mental health stuff.
Right.
So for this show to really work, the writing has got to be good. It can't just be, surface level. It's got to really delve into the complexities of mental health.
Yeah. It's got to feel real and relatable, right?
Exactly. And, maybe even offer a new perspective on things.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, it's not just writing a good story, it's writing the right story at the right time.
Right, exactly. And, a show's success is often tied to how well it taps into what's going on in the world.
Oh, for sure.
What's the cultural zeitgeist? What are people talking about? What are they struggling with?
Yeah.
If a show can connect to those big ideas, it's going to resonate with a much larger audience.
It's so true. Like, think about, shows that explore themes of like isolation or connection in this digital age. Those really took off during the pandemic because it was reflecting a lot of people's experience.
Exactly, yeah.
So Shrinking, with its potential focus on mental health,
Mm-hmm.
could really resonate with a lot of people right now. Like after everything we've been through.
Yeah.
What do you think, listener? What makes a show irresistible for you? Is it like a plot that has so many twists and turns you can't figure out what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
Or is it characters you feel like you could be friends with?
Right.
Or maybe it's just the pure escapism, like you just want to get away from your own life for a little bit, we think.
Right. Those are great. And, you can't forget about personal taste, too.
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
What hooks one person might not do anything for someone else.
Totally.
And then on top of all of that, you've got the marketing machine, Yeah. Yeah.
That plays a huge role, too. The trailers, all the social media, the interviews, all of that builds up excitement and gets people talking.
It's like this whole ecosystem, right?
It is.
There's a creative side with the writing and the acting, and then there's the marketing side kind of amplifying it all,
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the whole cultural landscape. It all kind of comes together.
Yeah.
So where does that leave Shrinking? Do you think it has what it takes to be like the next big thing?
It's really hard to say for sure. I mean, it definitely seems like it has some things going for it. Like the cast is super talented.
Yeah.
And the premise sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this, but the subject matter is super timely.
Yeah.
But ultimately, whether it becomes the next big thing or, kind of fades away is something we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Which, I guess is part of the fun, right?
It is, yeah.
Trying to figure out what's going to catch everyone's attention. Yeah. So I guess what we've learned is that predicting a show's success is more than just, looking at the early hype, right?
Right.
It's about the writing, the cultural timing, the marketing,
Yeah, and some luck.
and a little bit of luck.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So with all this in mind, it makes you wonder, right? Like, how has the way we watch TV, the way we consume entertainment, changed with streaming?
Yeah,
And what does that mean for the future of stories and storytelling?
that's a good question.
Yeah. I don't know, but what do you think, listener? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today on this deep dive.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next time.
See ya. Bye.